do you want to get left behind? The way the digital marketing world's going right now, there are so many changes that are so hard to keep up with that if you're a business owner trying to do it yourself, you're going to fall through the cracks. The content's not going to be quality. It's not going to be worth the investment that you're going to take from your time and your stress. Really making that initial investment in endless customers impact, it's scary. It's not just a flicking a switch and all of a sudden traffic goes up, leads go up. It's a lot of hard work, but the actual initial investment is nothing worth to the results that we've seen.
You're listening to the Endless Customers Podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is the proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to start to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, do not miss our upcoming conference, Endless Customers Live, in Chicago, March 30th through April 1st, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, onto the show. Here's your host, Alex Winter.
Today, we're talking about what it looks like to really lean into the Endless Customer system and stick with it. For Bill Ragan Roofing, that means building a culture around transparency, investing in content, and even trying bold moves like radio advertising to disrupt their industry. Along the way, they've worked with a coach to stay accountable and consistent, celebrated big wins, and shifted how they connect with homeowners. Joining me today are Taffy Ragan, the general manager and owner, and Matt Carter, who's the content manager at Bill Ragan Roofing. We'll dig into their journey, the impact of coaching, their biggest wins, and what they're doing differently to stand out in roofing. All right, Taffy and Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Doing well.
Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. You've been longtime customers here at Impact and big believers in the Endless Customer system, and we have a lot to talk about today. But before we get into all the details and all the things you guys are working on, Taffy, can you set the stage for our listeners and for our audience about what Bill Ragan Roofing is, how it started? Just like give us the background of the company and what you guys do.
Yeah, so we are a 35-year-old residential roofing company out of Nashville, Tennessee. I think about 95% of the work we do is with homeowners, very little commercial work. So that's probably us in a nutshell. Very,
nice.
very good reputation. Very good reputation. We try to be very, very transparent, which is very rare in this industry.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why Endless Customers work so well with your company culture, because you guys keep it real and they're very honest and transparent, and we love that about you guys.
Yeah, Matt and I, we were just talking about that yesterday, about the transparency that Endless Customers brought to our company, which helped us actually kind of put that out to not just our team, but our customers as well. It made us realize how transparent we can actually be.
Very nice. Can you tell me a little bit or paint the picture of how you found Endless Customers? Like, was it the book? Did you hear Marcus speak? Can you give us a little of the backstory of that too?
Yeah, so I went to a marketing conference out in San Diego, and I was really struggling with the whole social media aspect of things. I actually just called them and I was like, we're a roofing company. It's boring, right? And they said, well, did you by chance see Marcus Sheridan at the conference? He's written a book and he owns a pool company. Based off of that, I went and bought the book. And I had my husband read it, Bill, and I was like, this has just made so much sense to me. It's like you go to Google. I was going to Google asking it questions all the time, right? So I was really bought in really from the get-go. And the team that we had at the time, I was having them write content. I was writing content. And of course, we failed. But then I went to an Impact event. This was back in 2019. And Marcus said, you can't do this on your own. You got to hire a content manager and the whole thing. And so I went out to Impact's booth and met my new salesperson who signed up with that day.
Wow, very nice. When you heard the first time you need to have a content manager, did you know what that meant? Like, did you know what that was?
I did, yes, because I had read the book.
Okay, so you had read the book.
A couple of times, yeah.
All right, well, and I think this is a perfect segue to go to Matt. So Matt, you are their content manager and you're their longtime content manager. What was it like for you coming into a company that was hiring for the first time to have a specific person for this role and to implement this system?
Well, I mean, fortunately, I was coming into a company that was already kind of bought in. This is what we're doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, or this is what we're doing marketing wise. I've always been a writer. I had no idea content writing was a thing, marketing copyright was a thing. So I just applied for the job. Luckily, I got it. And the big thing is you're going to be trained. All we need you to know how to do is make sure you can write well, you can do an interview well, and we'll kind of set up all the training for that. So, I mean, coming in from the very beginning with that already bought in, and I didn't have a choice. I was going to do the endless customer system, whether I liked it or not. But the thing is once you actually sit down and you start getting into it, like Taffy said, it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And that buy-in is so important. We've heard that time and time again, that having buy-in from leadership from the top down is the best way to really have this hook up and get real traction with it, which is exciting to hear. So what was it like working with a coach? Because you've been partners with Impact for a while. You've had a long journey. Why was coaching and training important to you? And Taffy, I want to hear from you as well. But let's start with you, Matt. What was it like going through the coaching program and having a coach?
Well, the coaching program for me was obviously fantastic, but because it wasn't just starting from, okay, you're technically hired as a content writer. We're not teaching you how to write. That was like the whole thing for me because I get really bogged down going over things that I already know how to do just to do the ultimate goal. It was never about that from the beginning. The coaching program was laid out about what to expect. I think at that point, every 6 weeks of what we were going to be doing, which to me gives me a roadmap, which I need. And also, I had to do everything. It wasn't, we're going to do it for you. It's more so, okay, go ahead and start doing stuff. And then we'll critique, we'll criticize, we'll show you how to do it the right way while also guiding you on doing the back end things, such as doing the SEO, the keyword research. Mm-hmm. So even though it was kind of drinking through a fire hose information wise, the way the roadmap was set up in the coaching program made it so seamless to where I really built to where I am now. It didn't just come all from the beginning. It was a slow roll from really a content writer to a content manager to now a whole digital marketer just from that one coaching program. Now, it's a lot of hard work, obviously, but there's growth from every step of the roadmap. And to me, that's what makes the coaching exciting because I'm not just getting coached on one thing. I'm being coached on how to do an entire pretty much industry.
Yeah.
Once you get to the end of it.
How long did the journey take for you to go from starting out as a writer to a content manager to now being the digital marketer that you are now and running everything that you do?
I would say,
Taffy knows.
If we're talking about going from content writer, I would say I was technically a content writer where I was consistently publishing and writing on a consistent basis, probably about 8 to 10 months in. And then I would say I became the content manager a little over a year.
Okay.
Whenever we did the first big website update, actually 2021.
Okay.
Because we would have been at home. So I would say probably a year and a half before I became an actual content manager. And then as we've known with digital marketing, how much it's evolved and everything, and, still leaning on impact and endless customers, but also other resources and continuous training. So, I mean, even now it's 6 years I've been doing this, even though I'm a digital marketer, I'm still learning things constantly, that continuing the journey I started on 6 years. And as we know with the AI and everything going into the future, these coaching programs and everything are just even more important.
Absolutely. Very well said. We agree. How about for you, Taffy? What was it like watching your team going through the coaching program and to see Matt have the evolution that he had? And what did it also do for your content and for your marketing and your sales overall?
Well, first of all, it's extremely exciting. I love working with the Impact team. Everybody is just, I don't know, the most generous and kind people. So that was really important to me. And I loved my coach who coached like the sales team on assignment selling. He coached me and Matt and Bill on all the other little things that we had to do. Mm-hmm. Like I know Impact knows this, but we actually printed out our scorecard on a board and put it between Matt's office and the videographer's office.
I love it.
As we got through it, we check marked everything.
That's amazing. She's not joking either, because I filmed a case study with you a few years back, and that was hanging very proudly on the wall, and I saw it, and we were super impressed that you took it to the next level of like actually printing it out and having it on the wall for your whole team to see. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, we were dead serious about it. We were told it was going to take like a year and a half to 2 years to go through the program. Mm-hmm. And we were determined to do it in a year. And we did. We did it right at a year.
That's amazing.
When we were able to graduate. But we, like I said, we took it really serious. But I had a conversation with Marcus at Impact's last event just this past August. And I was telling him, like, it's been a game changer for our business. We really do feel kind of like we are like the best teachers in this industry, and that Bill is the voice of the industry now because of our YouTube channel and the content that Matt's been producing. And we did no other advertising when we hired Matt, but we were able to see the uptick immediately. Now, I didn't skyrocket up to 10,000 visitors for a website in a month. It took several months, but we got to watch it go from 235 visitors incrementally, steadily, every month it went up and up and up and up. So it was extremely exciting. We were running like leads based off the content. One of the things that we probably did wrong at the beginning was we were creating content that wasn't local. So we were getting
Okay.
contacts from all over the world, all over the country, the phones ringing off the hook, people wanting information and guidance. And we had built trust outside of our own like realm, which was fascinating and fun as well. But then we got kind of dialed into the local. And so it's just kind of picked up from there.
Wait, so just to clarify, so when you started out, your content was doing so well that you were having people from all over the place calling to have you do their roof, even though they weren't in Tennessee or Nashville or in your geographic region.
We got invited to do a roof on an apartment complex in London.
In
No,
London.
an entire street of the slate roofing community in London. They wanted us to come out there and do it.
Wow.
Yep. We had a lady out of Alberta, Canada, leave us a 1-star review because we wouldn't come and repair her roof.
Oh my goodness. An entirely
We
different
were
country. Wow.
we were able to get it removed, but it was funny. But we had a guy from Ireland fill out a form asking, he's like, he has a metal roof, and when it rains, which rains a lot there, it's really loud and wakes his children up. So he's wanting to know what he could do to mute the sound.
Wow.
So it's been fascinating.
I love that. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this and I had to call it out, one, just because it's really funny and cool, but also
Yeah.
I think the second piece is you're creating content and Matt and the team are creating content that is building trust and that's actually helpful. And it isn't like selling Bill Ragan Roofing. They're reaching out to you because they just need help with their roof or they need help with whatever problems that they have. That's the beautiful thing. When this system works, that's the results that you can get.
Yeah. And what's really cool too is like I have an old coach that he's not my coach anymore, but I love him to bits. But he was like in bed on his iPad one day and he was like researching metal roofing and he's reading this article. He's down in like South Florida. He's like, wait a minute, this is Bill Ragan Roofing.
That's
Which
amazing.
is really fun. And I've been told that so many times in the industry events that we go to is that they're using our content to train their teams. We've got insurance adjusters that are referring us because of the content that they are learning from.
Wow.
It's really kind of cool.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. So Matt, a question for you. Is there an article or is there a piece of content, a video maybe, that really stands out that has just been hyper effective and has gotten a lot of views and has really helped not only build trust, but help your sales team to drive traffic and leads towards your sales folks?
Absolutely. Like Taffy just said, insurance content. Insurance is so confusing. It's a very dirty industry, kind of like roofing is itself. So there's a lot of confusion, getting taken advantage of, misconceptions, and all of our articles about like how to identify it, the process, anything with payments, deductibles. Those have been very, very successful in terms of traffic, just overall traffic, but also, like Taffy said, going to the local. So we have very localized insurance content as well. That not only brings it into the sales team being able to send out the process, but it's also process specific to Nashville, to
Right.
working with adjusters right here. But also, I mean, like you spoke about just a minute ago, the trust, having those pieces of content that's transparent, walking them through the process from our point of view, from a roofing side of things, builds that trust to make it seem like we are the experts, which we do consider ourselves the experts. We do think we're the best. But at the same time, we're just showing you the way you're supposed to do things,
Right.
or the way the process is supposed to work right. So if you don't go with us, at least you're going with a company that's not trying to take advantage of you or trying to get you in trouble with the Department of Insurance, stuff like that. So all the insurance things we do that are really heavily focused on education to make sure homeowners don't get taken advantage of is always successful because it really is just that unbiased, transparent information that we're not trying to sell ourselves. We're just trying to make sure you're taken care of.
Absolutely. And that's consistently been true as long as I've known you guys. And that's a company culture that you've set from the get-go that's about transparency and it resonates through your content. And it's obviously working really well because it can be confusing and insurance is complex, to put it nicely.
Yes.
It's complex. So to have a trusted partner or a trusted person that you can rely on to get that information is invaluable, right? So with that, how does that work for the sales team? So people watch your content, you're building trust. How has it changed the dynamic for the sales team when they have conversations now versus before you were doing this?
Well, I mean, I think it gives them kind of a little bit of I don't want to say star power, but it immediately sets them up as an expert as soon as they step onto that property. Even though it's not Bill himself that's stepping on the property, they can be rest assured that they work for Bill. Bill's done the training. And every piece of information that homeowner read is going to be reiterated by that roofing advisor or salesperson. You will not find a single roofing advisor that goes out there that will say anything different than what the content says. So there's that uniformity with the information. There's no confusion. Always goes back to transparency. And to me, besides the assignment selling aspect of it, being able to use it before going out to kind of speed along the process or get people to make decisions and everything, to me, it just shows that we care. And the salespeople love that aspect of it. It builds a relationship immediately whenever you're sending them content from your company, from your boss that is already considered an authority. And they know that if there's a sales call, they don't have a number, they know they can call Bill and immediately get an answer. So it really is, it just makes us look like the experts, like we actually know what we're doing, which we do. But it's just one thing to be able to prove that through multiple phases until we actually pick up that final check.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That's the key is nowadays people are doing a lot of their own research and homework. So even if you are the expert and you really know your stuff, if your content doesn't reflect that, people's perception aren't going to understand that. And that's where things can get misaligned or disjointed, right? So that's the difference between winning good customers and not. And you guys are clearly with your content doing all the right things to make that happen. So also I want to go to Taffy from a sales standpoint, right? You talked about how you dialed in geographically to make sure that you were doing more local stuff to make sure you're attracting people within your net and your region. What else have you been doing to attract more customers, and how has the content really shaped the dollars and cents of, revenue in your sales team and what they're bringing into the organization?
The salespeople, they do assignment selling. And for those that don't know what assignment selling is, it's basically you create a one-to-one video that you send out to your customers. You actually name the customer. It is for them specifically. And in that email that has that video in it, you have some content that you're sending them that's going to benefit them to read, so that when you show up there, they have a little bit of education. It might shorten your sales cycle. And also, like Matt said, it kind of gives them a little bit of star quality because they've seen him on a video. It's like they get to know him before they actually get to know him.
Right. A great way to build trust. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. And it absolutely does that. It helps with the closing rates as well. Outside of that, I mean, we do train on that. And what's great is that like Matt, his department work supremely well with our sales team. They're super tight and close. And we do the team revenue meetings where we have conversations about content that they may need or other things that Matt might need. And there's a very cohesive relationship between those two departments, which I know is not common.
No, it's not. Usually they're in silos, and sales doesn't really like marketing, and marketing doesn't really like sales. Your team has certainly broken down those walls, and they meet regularly and they create content together versus in silos. How has that affected the bottom line for your company? So we started in 2018, 2019, you said. 2019 to now. How has that shaped your business in regards to scale?
Last year was I think, for the industry as a whole, was down. Just the whole contracting, home improvement, it was just down last year. But man, it's taken off this year. When we started with Impact, today we are probably triple the revenue.
Triple the revenue. Wow. 3x. That's amazing.
As a matter of fact, this year is going to be the biggest year in company history.
Woo! I love that. I love hearing that. Congratulations.
With a really good, strong bottom line.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. I have a note here. So for people listening and watching, 3x your business. Who doesn't want that? That's incredible. It does take hard work. It does take a really smart team, but you guys are living proof.
It's been kind of like that hockey stick with the views of the content. It's kind of been that way with the company too. Mm-hmm. It's like every year we got bigger, we got bigger, we got bigger. And it's not necessarily that our overhead has got bigger, because it actually hasn't, but the revenue has gone up. It's outside of last year, which is just one of those years that, the market's down.
Sure. That's business. Things happen, and you have good years and bad years. That outside elements affect that, and you can't always control those pieces, right?
We totally were able to sustain it. A lot of businesses that didn't, but it was because of how we started building this foundation back in 2019 that we were able to ride that wave.
Yeah, that's an incredible point. So when I saw you at the event in Hartford in August, we had a really great conversation, and you introduced me to a new salesperson that you have on your team.
Mm-hmm.
And you Josh, right? And you were telling me about how he came into the company and closed one of the biggest deals, his first deal right out of the gate. Can you just tell people a little bit about that story? And then maybe Matt, whatever content you used to gave to him to help close these deals, because that's pretty amazing for someone to come in and just start crushing it right out the gate.
Matt's amazing. Matt is amazing, but Josh is amazing too on a whole different sort of level.
Right.
He's a real go-getter. He is a contractor, but he came in because he wanted to work with Bill. Bill had been mentoring him and whatever, but Bill's the only one that has been able to close out any jobs that are like 50,000 and up. We've never had a salesperson that could do that. Well, Josh, he came in and put his head down. He immediately learn how to do the assignment selling, and was able to close an $80,000 deal just straight out of the gate. It would just
Wow.
blew everybody's mind.
That's incredible.
So,
Yeah.
and of course, Josh being Josh, he's like, in a good way.
No, that's great. And I got to talk to Josh, and he's a really, really genuinely nice and smart guy. And I think
Yes.
the contractor background obviously plays into his knowledge piece, of course.
Yes.
But Matt, how did the content help him? Because we talked right before we got on to the show here. Matt and I were talking a little bit about how he just leaned right into the content and like was fully bought in. And Matt, how do you, from your perspective, think that helped him close this huge deal?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that helped him was the homeowner came in through HubSpot for the how much does a metal roof cost in Nashville, Tennessee. So kind of going back to the local thing we've talked about. So he came in through direct traffic and then filled out a form and then just kind of was all over the website. But the big thing he wanted to know that he really was struggling to decide was between does he really want to go with metal or should he just kind of go with the standard asphalt? So Josh immediately asked me like if there was any pieces of content, anything like that. And he sent him a video outlining the differences between metal and asphalt and then sent a more in-depth article. And then I think the dude was ready to go as soon as he got done with that.
That's
because he
amazing.
immediately built that trust. And then sent him another article a little bit afterwards about what to expect from a standing seam metal roof replacement. And then after that, the guy was ready to go. Because we not only did we help him make that final decision, but we also told him what to expect from the process when the actual metal roof is being installed from beginning to end. So not only did we help him make that decision, but we also showed him what our process is and the right way to do things. So at that point, besides money, what can you have a problem with?
Right. That's a beautiful thing. Wow. I love hearing that. I love hearing it come together. It's like a perfect storm of using your CRM, leveraging your website and having everything set up correctly. And then the content to back it up to just build trust to the point where you don't even have to sell. They're already ready to go. That's the dream. So speaking of local, I have here a little note I was going to say earlier about radio advertising and that you guys are doing it different in the roofing industry, and you've had some great waves that have been happening here with your radio advertising. Can you talk a little bit about that for us and just paint that picture? Because I actually haven't heard the story, so I'm excited to hear what you guys are up to.
It stemmed from a conversation that Matt and I had. We were talking about he has visibility in how much traffic other competitors have. And we had a competitor where the search was their name. They had it was right around 350 direct searches, where we had 35. I was like, oh, we got a branding problem.
Okay.
And so we hired a consultant, and we started doing these really crazy, fun radio commercials. We trademarked #FunRoofer many years ago, and because Bill's a very fun person, he's very energetic, he's got a big personality, and he's funny, and
yes, he does.
And the #FunRoofer. So the consultant completely bought into it. So we just started using him, but it was just I'll just give you an example. And I know I've told a couple of you this commercial, and it's based off of a true story, which makes it even really funny for people that know it. It's like Bill goes, and he's country, right? He says, I like ice cream. And he visited a street vendor one day and got the cone, and the ice cream fell off onto the floor, and a raccoon came and got it and ran off with it. And he's like, and in the background, it's going, dee, 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 dee. It's funny as I'll get out. And then it's like, folks, I can't make this stuff up. Things happen in life. This is why we have a lifelong lifetime warranty on our workmanship. So he ties these little crazy little stories into our workmanship, or
right.
It's been really successful. Matt can attest to the success of the commercials because he sees the traffic from it.
That's cool. So Matt, how does the commercials, because I love that you're being cheeky and then tying it back into stuff happens, and that's why we have a warranty. How does that play into your digital content and the rest of your content ecosystem?
So actually me and Taffy talked about that yesterday, to where the commercials kind of reflect not only our culture, but our brand, who we are.
Right.
The whole thing where we had to play that happy medium when we first started working with JD was we need to make sure we're consistent into who we are from our content side. I think if we have almost 400 pieces of content online, we need to make sure we're not saying anything different on the radio. So that was my biggest concern when we first started doing it. But man, it is, I mean, the lifetime workmanship warranty, we had a metal roofing one that led to another metal roofing job being called in. So it's played into just still making us putting our names out there in a more targeted way than the endless customer system of being that unbiased, that transparent educator. But instead, we're like, hey, no, we're the best roofing company. Come hire us. So it really sets us up as, okay, yeah, no, we do have the education and we do take care of you. We do know how to do our jobs right. But hey, by the way, we are also the best. So it really just kind of plays hand in hand with each other.
I love hearing that.
Our consultant, his name is JD. He said he works with a lot of contractors across the United States. He said, I would never let another company say that they are the best, but I'm going to let you guys actually say that. Because he believes it too.
Hey, you can back it up, and that's the key. You got to make sure that if you make a claim, you got to back up that claim. So that's really great to hear that it's working for you. And this has been an awesome conversation. And also my favorite part of the show, I want to ask you both this. Given everything, all the ground we've covered and all the things that you've learned with endless customers, what advice would you give to people that are like just starting out on their journey, or maybe that haven't heard about endless customers, but are inspired by your story and all the great things you're doing? What would you tell them just from your experiences?
I would just ask them the question of, do you want to get left behind? The way the digital marketing world's going right now, there are so many changes that are so hard to keep up with as a business owner. Taffy has me, which is the fortunate thing, so I can stay on top of everything. But if you're a business owner trying to do it yourself, you're going to fall through the cracks. The content's not going to be quality. It's just going to be, it's not going to be worth the investment that you're going to take from your time and your stress. So really making that initial investment in endless customers impact, it's scary. It's scary. And there's not that immediate return of results. It's not just it's flicking a switch and all of a sudden traffic goes up, leads go up. It's a lot of hard work. The thing is, if you put that time, effort in, 6 years down the road, you could have a website that's having 100,000 visitors for a roofing company with 11 employees. So it's doable, it's possible. It's just a lot of hard work, and also wanting to take pride in that initial investment of understanding that I need to at least stick with this 6 months to a year, at least, to make sure to see if it's actually working, if it makes sense. If you're not fully committed, there's no reason to even try, because at that point you're wasting money. And that's not me saying anything bad about Impact or endless customers or anything. But if you're not willing to put that effort in, you're just throwing money away. But the actual initial investment is nothing worth to the results that we've seen. So even though it's been an expensive journey, it's been an incredibly fulfilling and rewarding financially and personally journey as well.
Just playing the long game is what it is. When you get into it, you've got to be willing to play the long game.
Right.
And you do see immediate results. You do see, like, it's small, like you'll jump up from, like us, 235 up to 500, like in a month. That's a huge jump for us. Something that Matt said, it's like a year and a half ago at Impact Live, Marcus first started talking about AI. And this ChatGPT had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
I came back and I was like, we really need to kind of stay up on this. Matt was a little skeptical about it, like everybody else was at the beginning.
Sure.
But this last event that I went to, I probably will not miss another event. I've told my business coach and I've told countless other business owners, if you attend one event in the year, it needs to be one of these, because this is what's going to keep you on top of everything that is AI. And I left there blown away. Matt couldn't attend, but he's been watching the modules and he's seeing the possibilities of what AI can do for him. And it's going to be the same thing for our videographer as well.
I really appreciate you saying that, because that's the events for us, Endless Customers Live, which is going to be happening next spring in Chicago. If you haven't heard of it, you got to go check it out on our website. We want to stay on the leading edge of these tech trends and on AI and on all these things that are emerging, because even though the principles are rooted, the foundation stays the same, but the tools change, and it's important to stay on the leading edge of that, because I think, to Matt's point, if you don't, you'll get left behind, and nobody wants to get left behind. Yeah,
exactly. I kind of feel sorry for people that don't have like my relationship that like I have with you guys with the Impact. because they don't even know what they're missing. They don't know what they don't know. And at the end of the day, honestly, we're going to be the beneficiaries of that.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and taking the time to be on the show today. It's been such a great conversation and learning about everything that you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you too for taking the time. It's great talking with you today.
Yeah, appreciate you.
For everybody there watching and listening, thank you for tuning in. This is Endless Customers. I'm your host, Alex Winter. Catch you on the next episode.